You're watching WHPS, Highland Park, Detroit.
WGPR Detroit, HD2.
The views and opinions expressed on the following show are not necessarily the views and opinions of WHPS, its affiliates, management, or sponsors.
Good morning. I'm Hubert Yap, Mayor of the City of Highland Park. I want to welcome all of you to the show. I have with me the Chief of our Fire Department, Chief Eric Hollowell. We will talk about public safety today and some of the things that we should know as residents and as occupants of the City of Highland Park, what we should do in case of emergency. So therefore, we'll start now. Also, we'll have a call in. If you want to call in and ask some questions, I'll give you a moment to get a pencil or pen. You can dial 868-0342 or 868-0351 or 868-4336. And we'll take your questions and we'll give you the best answers that we can. So let's get started. We'll start with Chief Hollowell. He'll talk about the fire department and give you some helpful hints in going forward. Chief Hollowell.
Good morning. Good morning. This is Chief Hollowell from the City of Highland Park Fire Department. I am a 31-year veteran. Been here. Asked the mayor. Here, I'll just jump right into it. I begged the mayor to replace one of our trucks. He listened to me. He told me what to do, how much paperwork he needed, what he needed, and we now have a brand new $1 million fire truck. Also, the mayor replaced all of our turnout gear for the entire department. Turnout gear meaning the fire gear, your coat, your pants, your boots, your gloves, the helmet. That's pretty much it for right this second.
Chief, tell us if you have a fire alarm to an address in Highland Park, what are some of the things that the occupants of that address should do in preparation for this fire?
Once they call 911, they should develop a plan to make sure that everybody's out of the structure. Designate who's going to be that person that's going to be the one doing it, and always keep it that way. Don't change from it. And once you gather all of your folks, you go out front, you wait for us to arrive, you let the boss know once he shows up there if there's anybody left in the house, or if there's anything dangerous in the house, such as gas or anything else in the basement that may need to be dealt with. And stand back.
We recommend, too, that you have family meetings regarding fires, meaning that you select a designated place. Like the family will meet at the telephone pole 3 doors down, or the family will meet in front of the house across the street, or pick a designated spot where everyone can be accounted for. We want the family to meet and make sure everyone is safe. If, in fact, there is a member or a pet missing, upon arrival of the firefighters, you should let them know that little Raymond is not here, and he's normally in the bedroom the upper left, and they will give that a priority and try to get to him if he's still in the home. But we should give the firefighters all of the information that they can use in the rescue efforts and extinguishing the fire. And like the chief said, if there's gasoline or explosives or things of that matter in the house, the firefighters should know, because their lives are at stake. The more information you give them, the safer everyone is. So, the chief mentioned the fact that we got a $1 million piece of equipment. That's a $1 million ladder truck. I coordinated with Representative Helena Scott. She's a state rep in Lansing. We needed the equipment because we had a fire about a year ago at the Gabriel, and we had an engine truck. An engine truck is one that it will pour water, but it's water from the ladder truck going straight to the target house. A ladder truck, you go 109 feet in the air and pour big water down on the fire. That way it extinguishes quicker, more efficiently, and these are things that every fire department should have. And Highland Park has been working toward upgrading our fire department, our police department. I think we're doing a pretty good job. We don't have the big budget, but we are making progress. At this point, I was expecting our chief or deputy chief of police this morning, but they haven't arrived yet, so I'll proceed in the area of police department. If, in fact, you have a need for the police, say a barricaded gunman or a shooting, first, if there's a shooting, stay away from the windows, lay flat on the floor, call 911, and let them direct you from that point. They will let you know that the police department is en route, and they will also tell you what you should do at that point. Either they want you near the front on the floor, near the back on the door, but your instructions should be received from 911. We try and have all of our police officers proceed with their work in a very courteous manner, and the police always have a plan of action. If it's a barricaded gunman, there's evacuation of the neighborhood, and to evacuate, follow the instructions of the police. Response to crime scenes, we try to use courtesy, and you will not see us pull up in front of the target house. The target house being where the shots are coming from. We will pull up a certain distance and proceed on foot. That's safety for the police officers, and in fact, it gives us room to see the scene better and to know where you are. We have a number of situations that we monitor. Their current events. Some of you know about the Robb Elementary School in Texas, where I don't want to get into the details because I wasn't there, but it is alleged that the police department blew it. I don't know. But I do know this. In our city, when we respond to a shooting like that, and if it's a school or even if it's a home, if there's shots fired in progress, our primary effort is to save lives. So if there's shots fired, we got to get to the shooter and stop he or her. We must stop them because we can only assume they're taking lives as the shots are being fired. So that's one thing that we should always know, that the police will respond, but they're there to save lives. And of course, it's a dangerous job. I was a police officer in the city of Highland Park for 31 and a half years. I've been involved in shootings. I was a patrol officer, I was a patrol supervisor, and I was a manager in the police department. And at every level, I participated in arrests, serious raids. And I want everybody to know that the police in enforcement, they try to be as polite as possible, but we're moving fast, trying to save lives and trying to get to you. So bear with us and cooperate with us as much as possible. When you call the police, be sure that you give them as much information as possible. Height, weight, name, the kind of weapon, if you know. Give them all the information you can to have them prepare themselves for when they do make entry. They want to make sure that they're safe and you're safe. That's some of the things that we do as police and firemen. Chief, now that you have the new apparatus, how do you and your men feel about attacking a fire? Does it make you feel more confident, or?
Oh, it was a game changer. We have something now that we can totally rely on. We know it works. We know what its capabilities are, and it's great to have it.
That's great. Again, we want to give thanks to Miss Helena Scott, our state representative in Lansing. She was very instrumental in our getting this new piece of apparatus. As I stated, it's $1 million piece of apparatus. But it's such a game changer, as the chief stated. Instead of shooting water straight ahead, you're elevated 109 feet in the air, and when you're fighting a fire with this engine, you're shooting water straight ahead, of course. But the fire truck, the ladder truck, you're 109 feet in the air. And with big water being poured on the target house or structure, it's more efficient, there's more water, and it's such a useful piece of apparatus. And I'm sure our chief and his men are happy to get it. And again, we're thankful to Miss Helena Scott. Well, I just thought we needed to talk to you and to enlighten you about some of our duties. And I've given you the phone numbers. If you want to call in and ask questions, you feel free to. I have knowledge that our chief and his men, they do hydrant checks, fire hydrants. They go around, they check them so often to make sure they're working. I remember many years ago, the firemen had to respond to a fire scene, and they had a defective hydrant. That means they have to stretch a line, a block, maybe 2 blocks, to hook up to water and then start fighting the fire. By that time, you've had more damage done to the structure, and so the firemen have a job that they have to do. They have a very hard job. They have to climb those ladders, and salvage and overhaul, that's cleaning up. It's really something to clean up after a major fire. Chief, you have anything to add to maybe some things you like or dislike about firefighting?
Just to add on what you were saying about the ladder truck, it actually does the work of 6 firefighters, which is, again, a game changer for us. And we also have a pump that actually works on it, so it's a great truck. And as far as for firefighting, I love it.
You know, that's something that I went through the fire academy myself, and I didn't really tell you a lot about myself. I'm school-trained firefighter, school-trained police officer. I'm a state realtor. I'm a state private investigator. I was a substitute teacher in Highland Park. Highland Park has been my home. I went to school here. I grew up here. I served 7.5 years in the Army, and I served in a combat zone. I came back home, and then that's when I got into my city work of police and fire and so forth. But it's been a pleasure serving my city. This is my last term. I will be stepping down December 31st of this year, and hopefully I won't have to work again. I've been working all my life. So anyway, but if you have questions of us, feel free to call, and we'll do what we can to provide the answers. I want to make sure that you know that Highland Park has been very progressive lately. We've had a good staff. Our fire department, our community economic development, we've had really a great staff. And I say that because we have a number of jobs. The Oakland Plaza, We have new businesses, major businesses in that location. We have Faurecia, we have Mobis, Magna expanded, and on Hamilton and Davidson, we have the Means Group. That's a $40 million project, and that's going to be approximately 500 jobs upon completion. If you ride by Hamilton and Davidson, you'll see a lot of work going on over there. And there's only one thing about all of our work that we've done. We've tried to clear the way for a better community, a bigger budget. But I'm not satisfied with the fact that we have all these jobs and we don't have a high school. The mayor has no authority in the school system. I, like you, am just a resident. I can recommend, but that's the extent of it. But ladies and gentlemen, we need a high school in our city. We have all the jobs. Not everyone can afford to go to college right after high school. And those that can't, we have jobs right here in this city. You can go to work and earn a good living. You got a good salary. You got good benefits. And we are paving the way slowly in Highland Park to have a great community and to really have a good life in the city of Highland Park. I'd like to see all of our students go to school. But for all of you that cannot, we are making a way with the jobs that we provide. We also have a summer youth program. We have the youth that are working in our city right now. They work in various departments. They're young students between the ages of 13 and 16, 17. They're working in the mayor's office, in the human resources, in the community and economic development.
We have one as well.
We have one in the fire department, the police department. We try to give the students the experience of working in these various units to give them an idea what's going on in the city and what do they do in the police department, what do they do in the fire department. And with the hands-on, it prepares them in selecting a future job. So we're going to continue to try to educate our kids and provide experience and training for our children. And I would say that if you have a child, you might want to call Human Resources or Community Economic Development and inquire about the youth program that Highland Park provides every summer. These are jobs that are good experience. They get paid, and they get the experience, and so we want to prepare our children for the future. I think that especially since COVID, we're lagging behind. Our children, schooling, remote, that's no way to go to school. Education, sure, you're in the books, but it's predominantly learning to get along with other people. That classroom setting is super important when you're talking about learning life, learning, getting an education. You got to be in the classroom setting. You got to deal with other people. You got to rely on other people. And we're glad that we're getting back somewhat to the norm. I understand that COVID is creeping back around. They got monkeypox. They got, it's always something lately, but we need to use caution. I still wear my mask. As some of you notice, I have my mask on now, but it's important to protect yourself. I look at the president. He's had all of the shots and his boosters, but he's in public a lot, and you got to protect yourself. Even if you're in school, wear your mask. When you're in the stores, wear your mask. Take the precaution necessary to stay alive and do what you want to do. Well, the phone hasn't rang yet, and I guess I'll keep motoring, but I'd like to say that we've had such a good experience lately. We've had a change of personnel in our operation. We've, at one time we had a chief. He was here for 4 years. He was probably one of the most experienced chiefs we've ever had. His name was Logan. He's no longer with us, but we have a new chief and a new deputy chief. That's deputy chief is Mr. Patterson. The chief is Thomas, Chief Thomas. They've only been here a short while, but thus far they've started a number of programs. But the thing I like most about them, since I'm really a military and paramilitary person, is rules and regulations. Every police department must have good rules and regulations, and you got to follow them. And I train with the Detroit Police Department sometimes, and these two gentlemen are from the Detroit Police Department. I have their resumes with me. They are some of the well-trained officers that I would expect to lead a police department. I wanted to get our people trained, and in fact, I gave the old deputy chief and the prior deputy chief and prior chief, the autonomy to train, to go to the schools they wanted to. I recommended our Michigan chiefs of police and other police training around the country. It's important that we share training around the country. We exchange ideas. It makes a more efficient police department. I am at this point of being mayor. I learned from some of the better people, Mr. John Conyers, before he expired. I spent time in his office, and he spent time in my office, and myself and Attorney Terry Ford, we did some training together. John Conyers and Terry Ford, and it's quite an experience to be with someone that's been there and done that. And John Conyers was that guy. He was quite a man. And he spent a lot of time in Highland Park with the first Mayor Blackwell. I say the first Mayor Blackwell, the only Mayor Blackwell, but his son, Arthur Blackwell, has worked in this city as well. He was the emergency financial manager. But Mr. Blackwell, I learned a lot from him. He was my mayor, and I was his police escort back in the day. And there were times when we would exchange thoughts when he was going to Lansing to deliver a speech. He and I would talk about it, and he'd give me the whys and why nots, etc. So my learning experience has been from great people. Anyway, I'm still waiting for that phone call. The number is 868-0342 or 868-0351 or 868-4336. Feel free to call, ask questions about the police, the fire, or any of those entities, because we think we don't need these entities, but that need will come upon you in the spur of the moment. Believe me, I know. So, ladies and gentlemen, feel free to call. And the high-rise senior structures around the city, you have a tenant council or someone that's in charge of the floors, and make sure that you're up to date on who's in your building. We don't want people just venturing into your building. That's what happened, and I don't mean to be ugly, but that's what happened in Texas at Robb Elementary School. The guy ventured into the building, wasn't authorized. So if you see someone that's not authorized, if you have security, contact security. If not, feel free to call the police that we have a loiterer in our building, or we have someone that's not authorized in our building, but report it. Don't wait. Report it. I'd like to have some of you to make sure that you are participating in the school board system. I want you to go to these meetings because there's nothing more important than the education of our children. I'm often seen in the elementary schools. I'll drop by, just walk through. Sometimes I have even ride around the school. I don't go in, I just ride around. And there's been a lot of efforts put forth at the schools, cleanups, planting trees, flowers. Our playgrounds are being repaired. Highland Park is making progress. Our structures have sold, and we're going to have auctions soon. But I want you to understand that this is the time to keep your property up. Highland Park is the best location in the state. By that I mean there's the Lodge, there's 75, there's the Davison, there's Woodward. We got the main veins right here in the city. And if you live in the city, think about the activities downtown. You got the Pistons, you got the Lions, you got baseball. And if you live in Highland Park, you can get on public transportation, ride downtown, you step off the transportation, you ride at either one. The Pistons, the Lions, whatever. You're right there. So you don't have to pay that $40 parking. So living in Highland Park has its advantages to all the main veins and to a direct route downtown to the special events. I guess I've talked long enough. Let me turn to the chief here. He's probably got something. I'm telling you about Highland Park because I love Highland Park, and I've been here all my life. So I guess I could go on, but let me turn to the chief.
You mentioned something about high-rise or apartment buildings, sir. Just for you guys know, if you guys call us for a fire, please don't stay in your apartment. Please exit the building. Grab what you need of importance, but please don't try to straighten stuff up, put stuff away. Please don't do that. And then if you know of anybody that's in your apartment building that's handicapped, need assistance getting out of the building, you got to let us know as well. Like the mayor was saying, you should have somebody there at the apartment or building to inform us, but if they're not around, we still need to know. Summertime. Everybody should have a great time out there, but you got to be careful with those fireworks. There are areas where you have high bush. A lot of this stuff is dry. As soon as fire hits it, it's gone. Barbecuing on your porches, please, 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 please don't do that. Most of the homes in Highland Park are 100 or pushing 100 years old. So please be careful with that.
At this point, we will take a break, and we'll be back shortly. Thank you.
Let's cherish these moments. Made possible by the COVID-19 vaccine. Keep the celebrations going by keeping yourself protected and your COVID-19 vaccines up to date.
Have you ever wanted your own TV show? Have you dreamed of showcasing your talent for the world to see? Well, now you can. Have your own TV show. You can have your own 30-minute show. Not only will you be seen in the Detroit area, but you can be viewed worldwide. Be seen on WHPR Detroit Live, Comcast Cable Channel 91, on the web at tv33whpr.com, with the TV33 app, on Roku, Google TV, Apple TV, and on Amazon Fire TV. Act now. Time slots are limited. Sign up today and get a free replay with the purchase of your time slot. For more information, call 313-868-6612. Visit our studios and receive a free TV interview to promote your business, church, or organization by appointment only.
Okay, we're back again. Good morning again, and welcome to the show. We're talking about our police and fire departments, and I hope you gained some information today that you can use about people being in your school building, about people being in your high-rise. If there are faces and folk you don't recognize, or call your security. Let them check them out. If there's no security, the police department will respond to investigate because they're loitering about a premise in which they don't live or work. So let's make sure that we stay safe. And I have one more incident that I'm going to mention. Ladies and gentlemen, about maybe a month ago, there was a broadcast on Channel 7, a newscast on Channel 7, and it was about Highland Park Police disrupting a business at 14015 Hamilton. That's a church. It's a big, beautiful church. Well, last Christmas Eve, the police did go in that operation, and they found a lot of weed, cannabis, marijuana. And the Channel 7 carried the story that the police disrupted a business and that the owners of the business were complaining. So Channel 7 carried the story without a thorough investigation. And what happened, according to Channel 7, is the police department entered and they seized the building and they seized a ton of marijuana. Well, let me enlighten you. First, there was no business license. There was no permit to operate whatsoever. I've checked with the licensing department, nothing. Engineering department, nothing. Water department, they were using tons of water every day to grow weed. You can't grow weed without water. So they're running up our water bill, but yet the suburbanites are saying Highland Park is the reason why their water bills are so high. Yet everyone in that building that was arrested were suburbanites. And I'm not going to name this the suburb, but I'm going to say it was one of the richest suburbs in Michigan. There was about 7 or 8. One was even in violation of their immigration status. And it was a real situation, story untold, no truth to the story whatsoever. We checked with our Treasury Department. They were paying no taxes. There was no inspections or permits pulled. And the Channel 7 News, you never heard a question asked, what type of business were you operating there? They never asked that question. Were you licensed to operate the business? They never asked that question. Why? But yet me, Mayor Yap, my name was associated with taking the church building from these people, giving it back, trying to trade for 2 scout cars. And I can say this, and I'm here to say it to anyone who want to hear it. I have never negotiated with anyone in the opposition about scout cars, taking a building or giving it back, money, or not in any manner have I negotiated with those folks that were in the building. Now, I just want to say that they defamed me, yet they didn't investigate to apologize at least, And I'm looking at court action because it's just not proper to take a person's reputation and lower it to that level. As I stated earlier, I've been in Highland Park all my life. I've always worked to improve my city. And I mean that. There's no person that can say I use my job to collect money. I use my job in exchange for items or money. I don't do that. Why? Because I know there's Jackson Prison and there's other prisons along the way. I'm not going to be a part of that. So I try to do as the rules and regulations will allow, and I accept the paycheck that I've earned. Well, I just wanted to clear that up a little bit, and if you want to learn more about our police department, fire department, you can call the chief of the fire department. Let me ask him to give you his number.
313-852-3221.
Okay, you have the fire department. I think the police department is 313-852-7338.
7338.
852-7338 is the police department. So feel free to call us in any time that you need us, and we'll respond. Again, thank you for participating this morning, and have a great day. I'm going to close now, and I'll see you next time.